On the news, Zamfara state government pledges crackdown on terror groups after killing of 35 villagers. National Security Advisor Ribadu says Boko Haram attacks, banditry in Nigeria have reduced in the last 2 years. And RCX sets August 30 for Rivers State local government elections amid emergency rule, pledges credible conduct. It's a pleasure having you join us on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I'm Simisola Atikun. We begin in Zamfara State, where the government has reacted to the brutal execution of innocent captives by a terrorist gang operating in the region, vowing to ensure that those involved will face the full force of the law. This follows reports of the brutal killing of the villagers kidnapped from Banga in the Kaura Namoda local government area, despite payment of 35 million naira ransom demanded by the terrorists. The report also alleged that a Banga village was under the control of bandits, with an appeal for security personnel deployment to protect residents. In a separate message, Governor Dauda Lawal condemned the attack and pledged that the state will not cede a single inch of territory to criminal elements. Still on security, Nigeria's National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu says Boko Haram attacks, banditry and communal conflicts in the northern region have significantly declined over the past 2 years under President Bola Tinubu compared to the previous administration. Ribadu made the statement on Tuesday while addressing northern leaders at a 2-day interactive session organized by the Sir Ahmadu Bello Memorial Foundation in Kaduna State. According to Ribadu, the successes recorded in the fight against insecurity is a result of President Tinubu's directive to security agencies on a unified security approach. He added that ongoing security operations across the Northwest has resulted in the release of 11,259 hostages as of May 2025. He also revealed that several bandit leaders and their gang members have been eliminated by security forces in Zamfara, Kaduna and Katsina states. Meanwhile, the federal government has reaffirmed its unwavering commitment to rescuing the remaining 87 Chibok schoolgirls, Leah Sharibu and Dapchi captives who remain in captivity years after their abductions by terrorist groups. Speaking at a multi-agency anti-kidnapping meeting in Abuja held in collaboration with the United Kingdom's National Crime Agency, the national coordinator of the National Counter-Terrorism Center, Major General Adamu Laka, highlighted the government's continued commitment, describing the effort as a gradual process. The Nigeria security challenge continues to dominate the news, and to discuss further is a security expert and former assistant director at the Department of State Services, Mr. Dennis Amakri. Thank you for sparing time, sir. Now, what's your reaction to the statements made by the NSA, that's Nuhu Ribadu now, that Boko Haram attacks, banditry and communal conflicts in Nigeria have reduced in the last 2 years? He attributed the successes recorded in the fight against security now to President Tinubu's directive and his stance on a unified security approach by security agencies.
Thank you very much for having me. You know, this case has been going on and I think from what the National Security Advisor is saying at this time, it's a matter of statistics. It's a matter of statistics. And although, yes, it could reduce, but at the same time, we're having killings. So if the number of 2 years ago was very high and it has reduced by 100, you know, it still shows that people are being killed. And that is a significant challenge that the Nigerian government is having, or security challenges that the Nigerian government is having at this time. Because when you look at banditry and kidnapping, you know, depending on which statistics you're looking at, between 2023 and 2025, at least 10,217 people have been killed by armed groups in northern Nigeria, where mostly the victims are women and children. And then, of course, the increased violence that we're having in the north, is also accountable. So, yes, while the security agents have tried in reducing, the number still remains very high. And I think they could do better by bringing it down to the barest minimum at this time.
Let's also get your thoughts on the recent killing of 35 people in Zamfara State. Despite the payment of ransom by family members, they were asked to pay 35 million naira. Now, should the government reconsider its current security strategy to address such incidents?
I think there is a security strategy that the government have not really looked into. And that is that there will be no negotiation with terrorists, and then there must be a quick response team to go in there. Because when you start negotiating with them, sometimes they will take, and they are not government negotiators. The kind of negotiators we are having now are people, family members who are negotiating, and when they negotiate, they collect the money and at the same time go ahead and kill, the victims. So we're expecting a government standardized negotiating team where we have government negotiators. And then, of course, we don't want to give them that breathing space. Any kidnapper that kidnaps should not just go and sit down and be making phone calls to negotiate. We should put them on their toes. We should pursue them in such a way that they themselves will be very uneasy, not to talk of sitting down to negotiate.
Mr. Marco, it's always a pleasure having you with us. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts on the news. Shifting focus from security matters, former members of the All Nigeria People's Party have warned that they may leave the All Progressives Congress (APC) if the vice presidential slot is not retained by their bloc. The aggrieved members operating under the aegis of the Association of Former ANPP members disclosed their grievances at a press conference in Abuja, where they alleged marginalization by both the Congress for Progressive Change and ACN blocs in the tripartite agreement that formed the national government in 2015. Addressing journalists, the national coordinator, Vitalis Ajumbe, demanded inclusivity in the APC government, adding that the position of vice president remains sacrosanct for the ANPP bloc.
If politics is truly about equity, justice and fair play, members of the ANPP bloc in the APC should have been given sensitive political positions under President Buhari as the second largest partner of this merger. But we were not, but rather subjected to nihility and political redundancy. ANPP bloc in APC, which parades seasoned and tested politicians like the Vice President of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima. The Association of Former ANPP members hereby demands from our President, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, the following. 1. Inclusivity. To offer our services to government and Nigerians, the APC government led by our President should consider our members by appointing us as board chairmen, ambassadors, ministers, heads of government agencies and departments. 2. Vice presidential seat.
Amid the ongoing emergency rule in Rivers State, the State Independent Electoral Commission (RCEC) has reaffirmed its commitment to conducting free, fair and credible local government elections across the 23 local government areas now scheduled for August 30, 2025. Speaking at the unveiling of the revised election timetable on Monday, RCEC Chairman Michael Ode assured that the Commission would strictly follow all electoral guidelines and ensure a safe voting environment free from fear, and intimidation. He also appealed for public support, pledging a credible and transparent electoral process delivered with professionalism.
We are going to do it by ensuring that, voices are heard, and by voices I mean rational voices, if you like, and I'm using the word rational deliberately, that, and I know there are going to be a plethora of voices, and that the prospective voters are provided with a safe and secure environment to exercise their franchise. Furthermore, we are going to ensure that the prospective voters have a free and unfettered access to the electoral sites and venues and polling units to exercise their civic responsibility. We are also going to make sure that prospective voters are allowed freely, without intimidation or coercion, to make their choices. And we are also going to make sure that the entire process is not just transparent, free, fair, credible, and inclusive, but that is going to be seen as such.
Still on electoral matters, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) says it has implemented all administrative recommendations made by the ECOWAS Election Observation Mission following the 2023 general elections. INEC Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu revealed this in Abuja during a meeting with a post-election follow-up and needs assessment mission from the ECOWAS network of electoral missions, ECONEC, led by the chairperson of Liberia's National Elections Commission, Davideta Brown Lassana. Yakubu disclosed that of the 37 recommendations issued by the ECOWAS mission, 13 were directed to an INEC and have been fully addressed, while the remaining 24 were directed at other institutions such as the National Assembly, the Nigeria Police Force, and political parties.
Election observation missions make their findings and recommendations public. They also deploy follow-up missions on the implementation of their recommendations. INEC Nigeria is glad that ECOWAS, which deploy both long-term and short-term election observation missions, recognizes that election is a multi-stakeholder responsibility. Consequently, for Nigeria's 2023 general election, ECOWAS made 37 recommendations for consideration by 7 critical institutions and stakeholders in the electoral process.
The fact that we can sit down and talk about what we went through and how it impacted on our work during elections, I think we may be able to use those recommendations again to better situate our individual election management bodies when we return to our various countries. So let me say on behalf of the team that we are happy to be here and we are happy for your warm welcome all the time. But let me go further to say that Liberia, the National Elections Commission, appreciates you in particular for your stance to ensuring that we do a good job, as you have done here in Nigeria.
And as part of the 2025 World Day Against Trafficking in Persons, staff of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, led by Director General Binta Bello, have organized a public awareness walk through the FCT in Abuja despite heavy rain. Starting at the Old Parade Ground and ending at Unity Fountain, the group distributed flyers highlighting the dangers of human trafficking and how to report it. Speaking to journalists at the end of the walk, The NAPTIP DG highlighted the need to educate Nigerians on traffickers' evolving tactics to carry out their nefarious activities. Bello emphasized that the symbolic red card, alongside other sensitization tools, clearly signals to trafficking networks in Nigeria and the African region that their days are numbered.
We have distributed various information, education, and communication materials to the people that has participated in this work. We have sensitized them along the routes, and we have also taken a few reports of cases of human trafficking. As we walked, we received some cases. This is amid enhancing an understanding of the people on issues of human trafficking so that they can develop the needed resistance to the antics of the traffickers. We have expanded our stakeholders network to include major actors at the grassroots level. This is a deliberate and strategic preventive mechanism to create the desired awareness in the rural communities within the 774 local government councils across the country.
Events like this can never be overemphasized. Prevention is one of the very key tools to ensuring that we eradicate this menace that is human trafficking. For us at UNODC, we prioritize an emphasis at the state level, working in the state levels to ensure that we are adequately sensitizing at the grassroots levels, at the community levels.
It's about communities taking action themselves. You cannot reach with one walk here in Abuja, you cannot reach everyone, but this is also why we have you, the media, to reach out to the communities and for the communities to then take action themselves to raise awareness. In ICMP, we have a project where we are working at community level in 5 states with schools, with the various teachers and parents and the students themselves to take action, to understand how prevention for themselves, for their own lives, how it works and for their communities. And we hope that these sort of actions, this awareness raising, can spread throughout the countries.
It's time for a quick break. When news now returns, ISIL claims responsibility for deadly church attack in eastern DR Congo. We'll give you details shortly. Welcome back. Let's take you through our main stories. The Zamfara state government has reacted to the brutal execution of innocent captives by a terrorist gang operating in the region, vowing to ensure that those involved will face the full force of the law. This follows reports of the brutal killing of the villagers kidnapped from Banga community in the Kaura Namuda local government area, despite the payment of 35 million naira ransom demanded by the terrorists. We also told you that Nigeria's National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, has said that Boko Haram attacks, banditry and communal conflicts in the northern region have significantly declined over the past 2 years under President Bola Tinubu compared to the previous administration. In case you missed any of our news bulletins or for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV and AVO TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on X, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, Huawei App Gallery and Apple Store. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. Let's switch gears to business news with Victoria Konde. What's the latest on Nigeria's tax laws, Victoria?
Well, Simi, banks, insurance companies and other financial institutions in Nigeria will henceforth report monthly transactions above 25 million naira for individuals and 100 million for firms to tax authorities. This directive was contained in the Nigeria Tax Administration Act, NTAA Section 29, which is among the new laws which will come into effect from January 2026. The new laws also include the Nigeria Tax Act 2025. Furthermore, the NTA also stipulated that banks and other financial institutions will act as third-party debt recovery agents only when all legal avenues have been exhausted. Still on business, Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals has withdrawn its lawsuit against the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, the Nigerian National Petroleum Committee Limited, and 5 other petroleum companies. The case filed by the Federal High Court Abuja was formally withdrawn by the plaintiff's legal team. However, details of the decision, including the relief sought and whether an out-of-court settlement was reached, remain unclear. In the suit, Dangote Refinery had requested the court to award 100 billion naira in damages against the NMDPRA for issuing import licenses to some marketers and allowing the importation of petroleum products. Right now, we'll go on a short break and be back with stock market updates. Welcome back. A bullish wave swept across the Nigerian stock market this Tuesday with a 2.03% gain, powering the NGX to an impressive 87.2 trillion naira market value. The market capitalization now stands impressively, like I said, at 87.2 trillion naira, making a confident stride in investor sentiment. In today's session, activity remained vibrant across the Nigerian exchange with 128 listed equities participating in trading. Out of this, 51 stocks advanced while 25 stocks declined, reflecting bullish momentum across key counters. Berger Paints led the gainers chart, appreciating by 10% to close at 34 naira 10 kobo per share, and was followed closely by Learn Africa. Trading activity on the NGX remained upbeat with over 940 million shares exchanged across 28,358 deals, surpassing a market value of 30 billion naira. Now, when this is compared with the previous trading day, which is Monday, July 28, the market recorded an 18% increase in volume, a 32% boost in turnover, but a 25% drop in the number of deals. Now, shifting our focus to the global scene, mixed sentiments defined trading patterns across major international markets. Among selected indices, the US Dow Jones and Japan's Nikkei closed lower, while the UK's FTSE ended in the green, as you can see on the chart. In the foreign exchange market, the naira remained stable in Tuesday's session. It traded at 1,540 naira to the US dollar, and at 2,020 naira to the British pound, and at 1,790 naira to the euro, maintaining relative calm amid broader currency fluctuations. That's it on both business and stock market updates. Back to you, Simi, for the rest of the news.
Thank you very much, Victoria. And in other countries, the Islamic State militant group ISIL, also called ISIS, has claimed responsibility for a deadly attack that a United Nations mission says killed at least 43 worshippers during a night mass at a church in Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. The attack, which took place at the church in Ituri province's Commander City, saw members of the ISIL-affiliated Allied Democratic Forces, ADF, killing people with guns and machetes and taking captives. ISIL said on its Telegram channel that rebels had killed some 45 churchgoers and burned dozens of homes and shops. The UN mission says at least 43 people had been killed, including 19 women and 9 children, and condemned the attack. A former president of Colombia, Alvaro Uribe, has been found guilty of witness tampering and bribery in a landmark trial, becoming the country's first former president to ever be found guilty at trial. Judge Sandra Heredia ruled on Monday that there was enough evidence to determine that the 73-year-old conspired with a lawyer to coax 3 former members of paramilitary groups who were imprisoned into changing testimony they had provided to a left-wing senator, Ivan Cepeda, who had launched an investigation into Uribe's alleged ties to a paramilitary group in the 1990s. The case dates back to 2012 when he filed a libel suit against Cepeda with the Supreme Court. And on sports, the Confederation of African Football, CAF, has announced a record total prize pool of $10.4 million for the 2024 African Nations Championship, CHAN, to mark a major financial boost, signaling the organization's intent to elevate the competition's stature. For the first time in the tournament's history, the eventual champions will pocket a staggering $3.5 million, an increase of 75% from the $2 million awarded to the winners of the last edition. The runner-up will receive $1.2 million, while the third and fourth place teams will walk away with $700,000 and $600,000 respectively. And that's it on News Now. Many thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time.